Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining us today for this insightful virtual session on governance, risk, and compliance. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Nishita Galla from Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, and I will be hosting today's session. We have a comprehensive agenda lined up, covering a wide range of topics from the fundamentals of GRC to future trends, and I'm sure you will find it highly valuable. Now I invite Dr. Sriram Virudavolu, CEO of Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, to address the audience.
Yes, hello everyone. Yeah, very nice to meet all of you. And welcome to this session on GRC, a very, very important topic, governance, risk, and compliance. All of the three things are important. And we have with us an expert speaker and a great company, in fact, Cotelligent. We wish to mention that they have several deployments of this around the world. And governance, risk, and compliance have become all the more important with increased regulations and with advent of new technologies like AI and also all the other forces, the emerging technologies that are coming together now, whether it is 5G, whether it is your blockchain, each one of these has a certain, they need a degree of governance and compliance. Plus the main thing about application security, network security, cloud security, and all of these. So governance, risk, and compliance are an important part. They form part of the CEO's risk and compliance office also in the IT. And very frequently, the ones that are the whole system is instrumented and the risk portfolio, the way the risk is assessed, and after that, that is reported to the board on which decisions are taken and budgets are allocated on how we should take forward the cybersecurity posture and the privacy posture, notably of the whole company and the organization. So, about our Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, we have been at the forefront from the industry point of view, part of DSCI. I just returned from US. We've been to RSA in San Francisco, as well as Washington, in which we met with the Department of the government departments of US, including defense and the agencies, and then to NIST, then Carnegie Mellon University, and to New York and New Jersey, meeting with the CIOs, CCOs, and CTOs, as well as we announced $100 million fund for Indo-US Cyber Corridor. So that would help the startups not only gain funding, but also market access into US. So we'll be very happy to discuss with any of the startups or any of you who want to collaborate with us. And that said, we are scaling up in FY 24-25 in a significant manner. This is an example of that. And please await many more exciting programs. If you have not followed us on LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube, I would really urge you to do that. The links will be posted in the chat box by my team, and you can follow us there. And also stay tuned for all the updates that are happening. There are many interesting workshops and many things coming up. And I would like to extend a warm welcome to you for our upcoming chapter meet as well, since all of you are in this ecosystem. Okay, with that, I'd like to sign off and then hand it back to Nishita. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you everyone for joining us. It is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Mr. Venugopal Kalva. Mr. Venugopal Kalva is the Associate Director of Cyber Risk, Security and Governance COE at Cotelligent India Private Limited. With over 20 years of extensive experience in the field of cybersecurity and GRC, Mr. Venugopal Kalva is known for his proven track record in providing innovative cybersecurity and GRC solutions. He has been instrumental in capability building, driving innovation, and optimizing technology infrastructures across various verticals and heterogeneous IT environments. Mr. Venugopal Kalva excels in solutioning implementation and delivery excellence of GRC projects, utilizing cutting edge technology and OEM agnostic approaches. We are excited to have him as he shares his valuable insights and experiences with us today. So, we're eager to hear from you and learn more about the critical aspects of GRC. Without further ado, I now invite Mr. Venugopal Kalwa to take over the session.
Thank you, Nishta. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Sriram sir, for your kind words and introduction. Yep. First of all, I feel very privileged to be part of this virtual session. And I welcome all of the participants here who are waiting from last 10 minutes. That would be great. All are joined very early in time. Okay. And yep. So I would like to present using few slides here, various insights. Maybe it doesn't know exactly the audience background here. Maybe I believe the entire forum or the audience have various backgrounds. Some people are into IT, some people are into non-IT, and the GRC is not specific to IT. First of all, it is a general thing. Okay. Having said that, maybe few slides may be repetitive for a few of audience here. Just bear with us because we want to give some comprehensive idea right from scratch. What is GRC, and as the agenda flows, it covers up to the future trends where we are and what kind of solutions we are provide in a overall GRC market to the various industry requirements as such. Okay. So I want to cover within this 1.5 hour time or around it as much as possible. Okay, and further to that discussion, further to this presentation or virtual session, you are welcome to reach out to us for any kind of query further as such, and we will provide our contact details through our DSCA chapter and DSCA our collaboration and taking forward. So maybe if you introduce everyone, it will take a lot of time. So we want to, it's already 3:40 now. Let me rush on to the presentation directly. Yeah. I hope you can see my screen. Can any one of you please confirm to that? Nishta, can you please see my screen?
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Thank you. Okay. So anyway, the introduction already they covered it. Basically, myself is Venugopal Kalva, Associate Director for the Cotelligent Private Limited, and I look after. Hello. Yep. Sorry. Yeah. I look after both cybersecurity and GRC verticals in this organization, and at very I don't want to repeat the same thing. But as a part of practice, cybersecurity and GRC practice, I take care of complete right from pre-sales, solutioning, project delivery, and also providing the latest technologies and establishing, making our cybersecurity and GRC always up to date, real time, and providing the best solutions to our customer. Okay, so I look after entire vertical here. We are getting some lot of noise from one of the participants. Could you please go on the mute?
So just a second. I'll disable the mic access for everyone. I'll allow it to you.
Yep. And one more thing, with regards to the questions, you want to take offline questions, or is it okay to interrupt in between? What is the plan, Sai Prakash and Nishta?
Yes, sir. So if we have any questions in between the session, we can take it during the session itself. And anyways, we have 15 minutes allocated for the Q&A in the last as well, sir. End of the session.
Fair enough. As you are, keeping the audience into the mute, okay? That's the reason I'm asking to that.
Anyways, the chat is
Enabled,
open
right?
to everybody. Yes, sir. It is enabled.
Fair enough. Yeah. Please mute all the audience. Okay, thanks for that. I hope I'm audible clearly and you can able to see me as well.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, this is the agenda or some kind of guidelines given by the DSA to me for this virtual session. It starts from introduction of GRC until the future trends. They are just guidelines to me. Okay. Before jumping on to the actual content and discussing each and every item here, I just want to give some brief idea. Various perceptions or the mice whatever you are having. Generally, even before I start onto my GRC journey as well, what I feel. Okay, if you ask any of the people, majority of the people in the organization, GRC, they will simply say it is something to audit related. Okay, the audit team will take care of it. Okay, so we want to figure it out from this session. I want to make it very clear to the people how GRC is different from an audit. Basically, GRC is not audit. Basically, it is audit is an integral part of GRC. Number one, and then which organization it is applicable, whether it is applicable for only for IT, non-IT, or for that matter any industry, whether it is applicable or not. Those things we will figure it out from this discussion. And then does it mandatory for an organization to have GRC or not? We'll see that. How best we can implement a GRC in a company, and who should the GRC teams going to report it, how it can be, reporting works basically. So these kind of things, the quite common questions what we used to have in general, I want to make it clear to you guys as well during the discussions basically. Okay, so I want to make the session as much interactive as possible. I know there are multiple people are there. So obviously use the chat or whatever the medium is available to pose the questions and interrupt me in between whenever I'm going through the agenda here. Thank you. Then having said that, the most awaited GRC. I think pretty much 90 to 90% of the audience already aware of this, hear this word in day-to-day operations, but still, just for the presentation purpose, I just want to introduce the word basically, the GRC. And so there are multiple definitions, multiple, various kinds of people define it in a different ways basically. So I picked this one is the better one basically. The governance is a culture. Okay. So the GRC, when what I understand here is some people will say it is a strategy, some people will say it is a culture, some people will say it's a process. Okay, but end of the day, overall I feel I'm more connected to the culture word basically. That is the reason I picked it up. Okay, in an organization, GRC is a culture. It's not a simple tool. It is not a process, just a small framework. Okay, to have proper governance in the organization and proper risk management in the organization and compliance. Having all these three key modules, I can say, are the various functionalities or maybe various operations in the organization that make your organization would be more efficient. We'll see in the next slide what is the importance and what the advantages we'll get it. Okay. So at a very high level, what I'm trying to say is GRC is a culture where the governance will helps you to manage the organization properly, and the risk management will provide to control the risks and should not have major impact on the organization. The compliance, no doubt, we have to adherent with that, and without adherence, we see basically. And before getting on to this, how much important these things are basically, we hear right from my initial journey as well, right from Enron. We know the organization by name Enron, how it collapsed, and then even very latest the Paytm, how it is suffering. Okay, so lack of proper governance, risk management, compliances, very big organizations also. There are very interesting stories on the web. Okay, very organizations are impacted, and we are seeing in practical basically. Okay, having said that, these three are very important. GRC, and this is what about the GRC by definition. Then moving on to the importance of GRC in organizations. Okay, so out of this GRC, again I want to break this mention about each every item. Governance is a model for me basically, what it brings to the organization. Okay, governance will say have this process, have these policies. Okay, and putting everything into the actions basically in the execution. What end of the day we will get it, end of the day we will get it, the transparency in the organization, the accountability in the organization. Likewise, a very good governance. Okay, not only for an organization, even in our day-to-day lives as well, even for our to take the analogy of even our family as well. A good governance is always required. The process, segregation of duties, and the proper collaborations. Everything comes with the good governance only. Okay, that's how I look at it as a governance. Okay, governance may have a lot of process, doesn't matter. But end of that, the outcome what we'll get is better efficiency, better collaborations, and the more accountabilities here, basically. When it comes to the risk management, okay, the definition may tell threats, vulnerabilities, all these things, how I can able to predict the risks to my family, to my organization, how quickly I can predict it, and how could I prepare for that risk, and how we can treat that risk, and how we can end of the day reduce the impact of the risk. That is important to me, like financial risks. Okay, in next 6 months, what is the expenditure I'm going to get? The sources are not limited. The balance sheet is not making up. Obviously, it comes as financial risk to me, obvious, right? So uh, those things basically predicting the risks in advance and prioritizing those risks, what I need to be, how to treat them, how to avoid its impact, basically. That's about the risk management in general terms, what I feel basically. The compliance is obviously wherever you are living, in any part of the globe, definitely there would be some certain rules you need to follow as part of a community, as part of a country, as part of overall organization, world. You need to follow some compliance programs. That depends upon where you are and what kind of operations you are performing. So that's how I see as a GRC in very simple terms, basically, not because of these definitions and everything. So here in this slide, what I want to bring up to your notice is basically what we get if you follow GRC. That's it. Okay. The better efficiency, the risk of proper assessments in advance, operation efficiencies. In addition to that, as IT is part of every organization, we don't see any organization without any IT and not having any laptop, not having a network, internet, or as such. Obviously, IT GRC is integral part of the overall GRC. So answering with these two slides with the first, the questions here, whether GRC mean only IT GRC? No. GRC is everywhere in our day-to-day life, in the organization overall operations. And IT GRC is integral part of it. Audit is an integral part of GRC, and it is applicable to every organization. So by understanding these points, we say again we need to review, okay, whether the GRC is a mandatory to an organization. Yes, obviously. Okay. And if you don't follow the compliance, that is the example, I don't have good governance model, I don't have proper risk management. Okay. It may impact only to my organization. If I don't follow the compliance, obviously, entire, even I need to pay the financial penalties and everything will happen. So GRC is mandatory an organization to follow, and that will bring up all these advantages to an organization. Okay, so because you may say, "Yeah, my industry or my organization, I have only dealing with some day-to-day business." Okay, let's take a restaurant basically. Okay, my job is to cook and serve to the people. That's it. Do I require GRC for this? Yeah, GRC is not mandatory for the point of time. But the thing is that having proper segregation of duties, following the, predicting the risks and following the various certain FCCA rules or whatever the things mandatory for you as well. Even you take a small restaurant itself is having such kind of governance. There is a scope for the GRC. How about the every organization for that matter? Then coming to the IT GRC, okay, because we are more connected to the cybersecurity and GRC we are discussing here. The IT GRC mean we use IT for managing the governance risk compliance in each and every stage of the GRC or wherever it is applicable. That is called IT GRC. And maybe I could not able to stop it here. See that any questions are here. Yeah. I need your help from the Cybercushion team. If any questions are, just let me interrupt. Okay, as I'm presenting here, I may not be able to switch it here and back. Okay. I hope it making sense to you guys, basically. Then, yeah, that's what with these two slides. That's what I want to introduce about GRC for you guys, and what is the importance of a GRC and the basics around it. Then moving on to each and every item, basically, as I mentioned, bear with me. Maybe you guys already know these things, for majority of people, but taking the basics first, then I want to take it on to the latest technologies and trends around it and how we need to have a better GRC. Okay. Then understanding a GRC out of these three words again, What is this GRC? I mean, governance basically. Out of the GRC, the first word, let us take it as a governance. Okay. How a GRC can be, governance can be implemented, an organization will deploy a good governance. First of all, we need to understand the objectives and goals, then review the existing procedures, having proper policies and processes in place, and what controls. Okay, maybe we use this word very generally. Okay, what is meant by control? Okay. A control, we have again hundreds of definitions are there. Basically, in simple time, I will tell is a physical control. Okay, nothing but monitor who are the people coming into your organization, going into the back to going from our organization. So those kind of things also considered as a control. Everything, right from physical, technical, people, organizational, everything will have certain controls. Basically, having those controls in place, using technology or using the manual process, okay, whichever extent it is possible, so that itself brings up the good governance to the organization. So out of this again, very key or important part about the governance here is uh, roles and responsibilities. Okay, as I mentioned in my earlier discussion, also governance is somehow connected with the segregation of duties. Basically, so the segregation of duties mean roles and responsibilities in an organization. That is example. There is no proper segregation of duties. We see okay what kind of impact risks that comes and what kind of challenges that are faced by the organizations. So in a governance part, along with the policies and processes and controls, we will deal about the segregation of roles and responsibilities as well. Maybe this diagram have many things, technologies and everything is confusing. Don't much worry about it. Okay. Just I want to give you an idea I want to coin what is the governance here clearly. Then moving on to various roles. Okay, I taken just example of for if you do an IT audit kind of thing. Okay, how entire organization is involved on that. Basically, just example again, there might be some kind of other roles and responsibilities matrix depending upon the organization, depending upon the GRC kind of the way you are implementing and everything. So what I want to figure it out here is don't look at the functions and names here. Everyone has a role in the GRC. That is what I want to make it clear with these tables and everything here. So when you start off implementing GRC or thinking about GRC, everyone has almost role in the roles and responsibilities in the GRC along with the implementing team here. So that's about the only two slides I want to present about how we can set up a governance, basically where it starts and where it ends, basically, and how we can able to have the segregation of duties, having a roles and responsibilities. Then risk management. Okay, again we know is a very general term, and especially I taken the example of IT risk management here. The risks are various types. We know it right from beginning. We are hearing that risks are 5 types, 7 types, 8 types: financial risks, legal risks, inherent risks. What are many risks are there? Okay, what is the risk? We know it. The probability of loss, the probability of okay some damage. Okay, that is the risk basically, right? So everyone has their own definitions around it, but here the risk management I want to share the risk management in the aspect of IT risks, basically, especially the IT risks. I taken the example. Okay, maybe you have different procedures, the way you follow the various basic steps in the financial risk management or legal risk management may be different. I just taken the IT risk management just for my explanation to be very clear. So we know everyone is using IT here. What are the IT risks normally we used to have? Obviously, when we are aligning with the cyber security always, okay, when we are always talking about the cyber security along with the GRC, in the IT, the cyber security, there would be vulnerabilities, there would be threats, right? That is where the attackers will attack using various attack vectors and various methods as such. Okay. So in order to counter, in order to protect our environment, our organization from the IT risks, we have proper IT risk management in place. And again, what are the various basic steps in the IT risk management we follow is first identify the assets. Okay, let us example, if my organization given the task to me, deal with this IT risk management or have a proper process in place. First, I need to identify the assets, then classify them, which are critical as such. Again, then we'll take what are the threats and the vulnerabilities connected to those assets. Then what would be the impact? Then calculation of the risks. Okay. Likewise, the risk management always having 3-4 steps very simple, clearly, like especially if you look at this, identify the risk, assess the risk, prioritize the risk. Okay. At a very high level, and treat the risk as well there basically. So the risks first always need to be identified. That is the one thing. And once identified risk is there, we need to assess its impact basically. Systematic procedure where you need to assess its impact basically, the likelihood of the risk and also its impact. Then prioritization based on the score what we get it. The risk analysis again there are various types are available. Like especially the basic core model is impact versus probability. The probability versus impact. Always we see risk matrices everywhere, and that is the matrix built based on the probability and the impact. Okay, let us example in that matrix we got some top score for few risks. Those are critical risks for me, medium risk for me. So that is called risk prioritization here. Identify the risks, assess the risks, and do the prioritization. There are various risk analysis methods available, like especially the Delphi model, brainstorming model, bow tie model, okay, shift model. So many risk analysis models are there, but the core, the basic type is probability versus impact risk matrix we need to maintain. Then we can get the clarity. What are the key risks are what are the prioritizations of risk, which risks I need to take out of 100 risks, which are high priority, which I need to focus on. What is my 30 days plan, 60 days plan, 90 days plan to mitigate that risks, what I need to take care of. Then once the risks are identified, they are categorized or prioritized. Okay, then I need to put each against each risk how I am going to treat the risks. There are 4 strategies we already know aware of this one. One is risk avoidance, mitigation, acceptance, and sharing. Basically, we already gone through these basics several times. Basically, and just I am touch basing the basics here about the risk management, governance, and compliance to just give a brief idea. People are new to the GRC. That is my intention here, and I want to capture the key things here. Okay, maybe I'm a bit fast here in the interest of time as well, basically, and I have another 30 slides need to present. Maybe basic side I may going a bit fast. Let me know, okay, if I need to be slow here or maybe any questions are around it. So these are the 3 slides I want to present on the IT risk management, especially on the example of IT risk management. I hope it is clear to you guys. What are the basic steps we'll follow in the risk management, how you can deal the risks, and what the identification methods we have, brainstorming, interviewing, online resources, checklist, SWOT analysis, various analysis methods, and how do you assess the risks, then prioritize the risks and treat the risks. These are the 3 slides I want to present about the risk for you guys. Then coming to the third part, say compliance. Okay, the compliance, as I mentioned, these are the laws and regulations and the industry standards basically. Having said that, is the laws and regulations are mandated? Yes, those are mandated. You have to follow various policies and procedures to protect the interest of stakeholders, obviously. And again, I want to take the third point for your notice here, especially the GDPR. Okay, we know GDPR is applicable for European Union, okay, countries basically. But what I want to highlight here is even your organization have business with individuals of European Union, then even though you doesn't have any office in the European Union also, you have to follow, you need to be compliant, adherent with the GDPR applies. Okay, that's how the compliance matters basically. I mean to say, not only because of your location or the kind of business operations or the kind of industry you are into, even to who are your stakeholders also will play a key role to who which rules you are compliant with and how we need to follow them. Okay, and again I taken a few examples here, especially in the IT perspective, because always we are more inclined towards the cyber securities here. The first one is ISO 27K, what we used to call. 27,001. Obviously, we got 2012, 2022, sorry, very latest one. It got updated. Then we know SOX from since long, so decades, so many decades. We know PCI DSS, HIPAA, GDPR, SOC 2, and we can name it, COBAT. So all these, depending upon the industry or the kind of business you are doing, and that stakeholders you are dealing with, various compliances or rules you need to, laws and regulations you need to follow and need to be compliant with that. Okay, that's about the basic thing about the compliance. Then how I can prepare a strategy for my compliance program. Again, first of all, whenever you start any program, need to understand what is the goal. Okay, with that program, what you want to achieve. Then having proper policies and processes in place, and the stakeholders training, especially in the GRC, not only just writing a policy and putting in the place or putting in the controls in the place won't work. It need to be executed by the teams. As I mentioned in the governance itself, the roles and responsibilities. Everyone in the organization is responsible. Some are directly or indirectly to the GRC, basically. Having said that, proper training need to be given to the team how to follow, and continuously educating them about the various updates also plays a very key role. And especially when you are planning the compliance strategy, there should be a two-way communication, like between the employees and the GRC implementation teams. Okay, there should be proper communications, and even with the audit teams, internal audit teams, or whoever is responsible for compliance here, there should be proper communication and ensure their what would be their role and how it to be compliant, to be very clear on that. Especially compliance again, not like risk governance. Okay, I mean, say if I don't have good governance or if I don't implement governance, what is going to happen? Okay, maybe it will impact your organization, but you don't have direct financial penalty to you immediately. But compliance is not like that. They are mandated by the various laws of the your place or your country or your organization as such, basically. Then definitely you have to follow the government bodies or whatever it is there. Then you have to follow them without fail. If you don't follow them, obviously we go like a Paytm story at this point of time. Okay, so with these slides, Uh, I believe I made it clear to you what is GRC basically, what is meant by governments, what is its use, and how GRC, governance can be implemented at very high level, various steps, how risk management is implemented, are various key steps in the risk management, and coming to the compliance, okay, why compliance is required, and how a compliance strategy can be given. Maybe I don't have much, good diagrams or flow charts and everything at this point of time, basically, because this is a general discussion. I should not bring any, as we mentioned in the introduction itself, we don't recommend, we don't propose, especially any product in this virtual session. Basically, these kind of general sessions, we don't propose or recommend any kind of products, basically. And this intention is to have the core idea, the purpose of what is GRC, and how best we can, what services we can able to offer from the Cotelligent at the same time, why it is important for your organization. That's only thing. Okay, yep. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And let me cross check any questions are there so far. Okay, somebody is asking about Paytm case study. How relevant it is. I will try to give it that basically, but being an open forum, we should not basically those things. Yeah. I see hand raised by multiple people here. Just everyone. Amrita, are you good? Okay, maybe all are muted here. Let me go back to my presentation. Yeah, I see only the Paytm case study was only the thing that was requested. And then let me focus, let me give some brief idea about the three standards, the compliance standards. As I mentioned in my previous slide here, ISO 27001, SOX, and all these things. Okay, let me give brief idea before I get onto the technology. Okay, because that is very much important for the people who are not aware what is ISO and everything. So the ISO 27001, okay, nothing but for the IT management, I can say in simple terms, an organization used to have. And recently we got an updated version here. Close it. Yeah. So until before 2022, we used to have 2013 one, 27,001 ISO standard, along with its controls and everything, stating about its control. But in 2022, we got the new one basically. So what's the major difference between 23 and 22? I just want to give the brief idea for you guys as well. So in 2013, we used to get 11, 114 controls. Now they got into 93 controls. They again, the number of groups also they reduced to only 4 control groups. That is the beautiful part about the 2022. And these 93 controls again they grouped into various controls like organization, people, physical, and technical. I want to showcase few controls how they looks like. These are the new controls what they mention about. Okay, if you take the physical control, what I was talking about. Okay, according to the ISO standard implement 27 standard implementation, I should have this control in place. What it is stating, physical security monitoring. Okay, premises shall be continuously monitored for unauthorized physical access. Okay, likewise, the 93 controls are specifying various actions need to be taken care, or maybe various recommendations from the ISO 27. Once we implement all of these controls and get audited by the internal auditors and the uh, recognized external auditors, then we get the ISO certification. So that's how what is meant by a control. People who doesn't know what is meant by a control and what control is trying to giving guidance to the organization to be implemented, and where we stand on the ISO 27001. Then moving on to DPDP Act. Maybe you guys already heard this one very recently. This is 2023 DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Okay, this is also from especially in India. What we have here, our government has published this one. Okay, so it is to regulate the processing of digital personal data. PCI DSS, all these are connected to card industry, but DPDP Act also we came up with our government in Indian government here. So what it's saying is it is about the protecting data, digital personal data as such, and applicability of DPA, where it is applicable is especially the data in digital format within the territory of India and outside of India. Anyone is doing business with us, or we are the stakeholders. Our people are stakeholders, our organizations are stakeholders with any foreign organization also. DPDP Act will apply. As such, there are certain guidelines are there, applicabilities are there. And again, the stakeholders, as I mentioned, once you are implementing any standard governance or as such, the stakeholders, the people who are involved in the job roles also will vary. As we've seen in the previous slide of governments, we see project sponsor, steering committees, all those things. But when it comes to again this standard implementation, DPDP Act implementation, I can say this act. Okay, we have data principles, consent managers. Okay, kind of thing about the data principle. This is one of the very important one at this point of time. And again, especially the beautiful part of the DPDP is, unlike other standards like ISO as such, this DPDP will show you, will give the guidelines, obligations towards the rights and duties of the each and every organization with respect to the digital data protections basically. And what the data fields as well. And we have our own approach. Being an organization, we implement the DPDPs basically for various of few of our clients, and we'll have a journey with them. Having said that, this is one of the key important act here basically. And in addition to that, there is one more very important thing. Uh, you know, very important thing I want to showcase to you about the GRC perspective or the risk management perspective, especially I can say third party risk management. Maybe you may not get all the information about these ISO, DPDP, third party risk management with one or two slides. Just I am moving fast here basically, but these are the very important things when it comes to GRC. And third party risk management is very the latest trend, especially we'll discuss more trends when we discuss about the relevant slides and the future trends and other areas. Especially third party risk management, it is playing a very key role. The need of TPRM, you can read it here clearly. So it is causing more of data breaches. Okay, what is meant by a third party? Okay, who is the third party? A direct vendor to your organization is a third party here. Okay, and then if it is third party, what about fourth party, fifth party, sixth party, like that? Do they have sixth party as a yes? That is also true. We used to have fourth parties, fifth parties as such. Then why we are focusing on only third party? Third party is a direct vendor to us. Fourth party onwards until ninth party, they are the indirect vendors to us basically. Maybe our third party have some kind of channel partnership or business partnership with one more vendor. He is the fourth party. He won't directly invoice to you, or he won't directly involve to you basically. That is the reason third party risk management is a very key role. It is playing a very key role, and of it you can get the information on the website, web basically. How many data breaches are happening? How many issues are popping up with the lack of proper third party risk management? This is one of the booming area in the GRC portfolio or service offering to us. That is the reason I want to bring to your notice here. Then how the third party risk management is different from regular IT risk management is. So here, before we are onboarding a third party vendor, let us example, I want to procure some service. I want to procure some CCTV basically to my organization. So I have to take one direct vendor. I need to onboard them. Before onboarding the third party vendor, I will try to do the risk assessment for them, having a proper agreement with them, contractual agreement. Then I onboard the resources. This is what happening in all the ITs. Maybe not come to all of you or notice basically. So before onboarding any vendor, there will be a proper onboarding process need to be there. Then we need to monitor them basically. And let's example, we are offering service as a Cotelligent, we are offering service to one of our client ABC. Then they will asking us basically before we onboarding, there should be a qualification criteria. A qualification criteria as such. You need to have SOC 2 certification. You need to have ISO certification, or maybe if you are dealing with the PCI-DSS, those kind of certifications. Along with that, they are asking for some other compliance details on the GRC side. Once we qualify to them, then they will onboard us. Then they will do the proper monitoring of whether we are periodically. There is a clause very clearly mentioned in the agreement. At any point of time, we want to we want to have the audit in your, even though you are a third party vendor, whenever we necessary. That kind of clauses are available in nowadays agreements basically. So ongoing monitor, and maybe randomly they can audit us. Then change in the service, like once the scope of services are varied, again that is going to be under review. Then when we are offboarding the specific vendor also, there would be certain assessments will happen and various checklists that need to be checked out as part of agreement what we are doing. Also during the offboarding also will have it. So the TPRM is also playing a very key role in current GRC landscape. I can say like in GRC postures at this point of time to an organization. So with that, I just want to wind up the basic discussion on the what is GRC, and each and every item, what the purpose of it, and how it is useful for your organization, and why we need to follow the GRC. And in addition to that, various latest trends around it, especially the TPRM, ISOs, DPTP Act, and all these things. Just at a high level, I want to bring to your notice. You can explore more onto that. If you have any questions around it, you can touch base with us basically. And then going back to our discussion, then now actual thing will come. The interesting part is GRC technologies. Okay, so the question raises here whether GRC is manual process or it's an automated process. How we can achieve how we can implement the GRC in an organizations basically. So for that, I have to choose some technology, and yeah, I have to choose some technology, GRC technology. So mean whatever the manual process I'm doing as part of risk management, as part of implementing the GRC, as part of being compliant with various standards and regulations, we have tools, we have IT tools available in the market. Okay, so when we are choosing the right technology, if we can okay, maybe majority of requirements we used to come as a part of pre-sales to us and asking what tools you are recommending to us, or we are looking for a GRC automation tool. GRC automation tool is the word everyone is going to coin now. We don't want to have manual process. Who got the time to have the manual process? We have hundreds of tools in the market. Okay, and again, out of that, how to choose the right tool? I just want to bring to your notice here the integration capabilities, like especially if you deal with, let me take the example of SAP here. So SAP also have a product called GRC tool. SAP its own GRC tool is available. There we got 3 4 modules, if I remember exactly. There is called access risk, access request management, and ERM, enterprise risk management tool. Okay, modules. So for each part of GRC, process management, and likewise, there are various products having multiple tools having various multiple modules and features, and that provides the overall automation of the GRC, and also the what are the various steps are there in the part of implementation as here. So when I'm choosing the right tool, which is suitable to my organization GRC implementation or monitoring or continuation improvements in that area. First, I need to look at the GRC tool have the proper integration capabilities, because every organization have multiple applications. Custom applications will be there, non-custom applications will be there, like ServiceNow, Salesforce, AXBC, even for HR operations. Everywhere is tools basically now, or and our applications only, right? So when I'm choosing my GRC tool, whether it got the integration capabilities, that is more important. If one or other two custom applications I can't integrate, maybe my GRC is not going to be 100% implemented across the organization. The integration capabilities, the various dashboards for my C-level representations, workflows, okay, and the real-time monitoring, the risk assessment, policy management need to be there, incident management need to be there, and compliance management need to be there. So these are the various features I need to look at when I'm selecting my GRC technology. At this point of time, I don't want to take the names of any tools which are top 10 in the market or top 5 in the market. Yes, we have channel partnership with Cotelligent. We have a channel partnership, and we have very good tools in the market, especially on the GRC perspective, make our job easy compared to last 1 or 2 decades, basically nowadays on the GRC side. So that's about the technology I just want to bring to your notice. There are tools available. No need to do everything is manual operations, number one. Then how we can automate with the GRC process. Okay. Obviously, you see various kinds of flow charts available and automation processes are available. So in the tool itself, there is a automation modules or features available. Using that, whatever steps you are following manually, let us example for in order to provide access, okay, requesting process, approval process, and what the segregation of duties between the role 1 and role 2. What are the risks behind it? Okay, evaluating those risks. So those kind of things basically, uh, you know. Um, everything would be evaluated by the tool itself automatically. And also the approval process, sending notification to next level. Okay, the approval process, sending to their email box. Once they approve or decline it, or maybe they decline it with the proper reason, everything is documented in the tool itself. No need to maintain anything manually. Those kind of such features, GRC implementation and automations is all possible. Okay, so when you are doing the automation using a GRC automation using a tool, what we need to look at is basically the integrations, as I mentioned, the internal data ingestion, everything you need to feed it to the tool properly, and the external data ingestion, automation of intelligence resources, then the risk workflows, as we seen in any risk management, the core steps would be there: identification, assessment, treatment, and everything. Those workflows need to be, analysis also need to be not a manual process. It should be automated process. And mapping of risks to the controls is more and more important. Okay, whenever you got a risk, then mapping it to them, proper controls and implementing the and updating the solutions. So this is what we need to look at the GRC technology. When you are choosing the right technology, of course, the budget limitations would be there, cost-effective solutions are there, premium quality solutions are there. Again, market is having all kinds of products on the GRC. So again, depending upon our requirement, we use to them. There you can take the help of service providers like us. Basically, we can provide the comparison between our product analysis, GRC technology analysis, which is best, which is suitable to your environment as such, and from there we can take it up your GRC journey, appending with the using the GRC technology basically. Yeah. Then yes, we understand GRC, we chosen the technology, we implemented the GRC, then where we stand on the GRC, whether it is 100% working properly, or how to measure the performance of this one. Okay, how to perform in maturity level of your GRC and the capability level of GRC. What are the models we need to follow? Okay, you guys may hear this word, or maybe if you are not aware. Okay, OCEG. This is the organization, non-profit organization. Sorry, full form is Open Compliance and Ethical Group. Before GRC word came into picture, actually this organization only coined this word. They have a red book on the capability model, how to measure the performance of your GRC implementation, how effective it is, basically. Those things, the capability models are there, and it's kind of guidelines, various guidelines how to measure it. Then the maturity levels always have a high level maturity. If it is high level maturity, mean obviously the GRC is well planned strategy, and it is resulting in cost efficiency or whatever the advantages. What is the importance of what we discussed in the slide number 2 already? The productivity and everything would be there. Low GRC maturity model mean obviously it will going to create the problems in our business. Okay, this is how to measure the GRC maturity and capability. And as a service providers, normally we also offering these kind of services. Let us example, you already having GRC. Maybe you have a doubt like, yeah, the GRC is not properly implemented or not much effective. Okay, there is something called assessment basically. The GRC assessment of your existing GRC of an organization, and advisory. Okay, assessment and advisory is also playing a very key role in each and every area of the IT services basically. Like if you have cybersecurity, IAM, data privacy are everywhere. Once we implement, we are not sure, okay, whether it is fully efficient or not, or it is the ROE is proper or not, okay, and what are the latest trends, are we up to date or not, okay. So those things we can take the help of assessment to understand this maturity, and what kind of capability models we are using, how best we can able to do that basically. Okay, so with that, I try to cover the basics of GRC, what is meant by GRC, then how to choose the technology, and what are the criteria we need to use, which are the various important factors for the GRC technology to use, and how automation is possible. Then how we can able to measure the GRC and capability. Then moving on to the GRC in different industries. Okay, again, so as I mentioned, GRC is applicable for every organization. By this time you realize on that, I believe so, and you can agree with me. Basically, I taken the example of BFSI. Okay, BFSI, you know that everyone is using our apps basically. So every transaction is happening through our mobile only. We are not using we are using very less cash, transactions. So now BFS is a very high boom at this point of time, using all the transactions are using the IT here. So BFS is the best example, basically. That's the reason I taken how GRC is crucial and how important, how it is different in a BFSI sector. Okay. Um, Definitely, as I quoted the same example, I don't want to take the name again and again. So if they don't follow the proper compliance, proper governance, and risk management is up to their point, basically, then the regulatory compliance are not followed. They are subjected to financial penalties, reputation risks, financial losses. Okay, what else? Okay, all kinds of problems will come. So the BFSI industries again got their own rules, compliance, laws and regulations they have to follow while they are onboarding a new customer, or where they are offboarding the customer and sharing the data between the applications. That is example. I started my own app now, and yeah, it got very good features. It is free on the market. Many people will come, but maintaining those data, I have a responsibility according to the DPDP acts, and the general acts, whatever applicable across the industries. In addition to that, being a financial industry, I have to follow various certain criterias. Okay, so if you don't follow this BFSI GRC guidelines, then obviously entire organization is going under severe risk here. And especially let me tell you my experiences here. We have uh, major banks in the India. We are providing services for cybersecurity and GRC. Obviously, the kind of regulatory requirements are very high. That is true. That is required as well, basically. Okay, and even right from each technology implementation and right from the implementation of GRC and cybersecurity, and also for those client, BFSI major clients, I can say. Uh, for every client on that in that area, they are specifically need to follow the certain rules even in the technology as well. What I'm trying to say here is not only regular standards. Okay, they give guidelines very clearly across the organizations and all its subsidiaries, all its third-party vendors. They need to follow certain rules, certain policies. Okay, end to end, and those things need to be part of your technology as well, not only in the process perspective. We need to talk basically. That is example. What are the controls they given to us or policies they given to us? We'll say, yeah, manually we are following everything. No, it need to be updated in your technology, whatever tool you are using. For cybersecurity, you are using GRC, you are using, and ensure you need to showcase in the dashboard. Yes, connected to this compliance, this is the adherence. Connected to this regulation, this is the compliance. Okay, the dashboards and everything need to be implemented. That much stringent basically at this point of time, and those are pretty much required in a highly regulated environment to running a business smoothly for every organization. Okay, so what I'm trying to coin here is bring to your notice is the GRC varies from industry to industry, but wherever you are using, you have to follow ITGRC along with some other. Okay, it will different from nature of business. That's it basically. If you have more onto the financial risks, the regulations are different, compliance are different. If it is manufacturing industries, different. From if it is a service-based industries, IT service-based industries, different rules. We follow SOC 2 because we are a cyber security organization providing cyber security services. Maybe SOC 2 is not applicable directly to the a bank directly to say a pharma industry basically. They may not require directly, but now just I'm taking the example, it is applicable to some other reason. Okay, SOC 2 is telling about data privacy and other things. So likewise, the compliance rules may vary industry to industry, but overall GRC is required in every industry to have proper good governance, proper risk management, and compliance. Okay, then case study, one of the case study, what we did is the TPRM, whatever the example I taken, just for this purpose. Okay? I may not disclose much information. So this is one of the case study basically for one of our client. TPRM was the risk basically. TPRM side they were struggling to have proper risks associated with the third party vendors, and the data breach also happened before we pitch in there. So then we implemented the TPRM process for them, and we put in everything in the back into the place, and we assisted with them, and everything is done by our US and India based teams here, and that's one of the healthcare organization where we implemented third party risk assessments and ensure they're onto the track and compliant with the third party risk management. Okay, so I don't want I should not give much details about it. Again, as I mentioned, it is not specific to our offerings are as such basically as a Cotelligent offerings. This is overall giving the brief idea about it. So that's how a GRC is playing a very key role in every organization at the moment with the when we are dealing with the various operations of the GRC side. Then the most importantly the future trends. Okay, as a service based organization or offering services in this area, what are the latest trends, what we see, what we are witnessing at this point of time in today is number one, AI. Okay, as we mentioned, yes, there are automation tools for the GRC process and workflows, but those tools are now getting updated with the AI. We can't deny the AI's impact, okay, in each and every from right from your mobile until each and every operations wherever technology is there, AI is playing a very key role. And also, especially once the AI has pitched in or maybe integrated into the GRC technology, what is happening is the data analytics parts, the reports parts, okay, that is very intuitive, I can say. Basically it is becoming improved a lot way. Okay, and also it is becoming a very the analysis process. Okay, that is what happening. And analysis process, that is what happening. And in addition to that, what we see the vigilance against the various cyber threats. Actually, once you have proper implementation of cyber security and is very proper GRC in place, then cyber security threats also will get a lot of business around it. And as I already quoted that example of third party and nth party vendor risks, the perimeter is increasing, keep on increasing basically. And this is where we are going to get the uh, uh, proper frameworks in place, technology in place to handle the third party risk management and avoiding these again connected to some other loss, say the maybe data loss, financial loss, reputation loss. All these things are getting covered by with them. And especially the people risk also be managed with the ERC properly. And people risk also raising a high at this point of time. Because why I am mentioning, because you may ask you if you say people risk is high, what does it mean? We don't want to believe our internal employees, we don't want to believe our employees. No, we have to believe them, but at the same time need to have proper risk management in place from the other people. And also in addition to that what we call so it comes to the people risk management, uh, zero trust especially. Okay, maybe this is the word you guys heard it recently or not, I'm not sure. So the zero trust implementation, even that is the very thing. What is meant by zero trust? Verify even though you know that person. Okay, verify everything, that is called zero trust. Don't trust anybody, don't trust any device application directly. Verify it before you trust. That is called zero trust implementation kind of thing. So zero trust implementation also indirectly, okay, connected to the GRC, that is impacting on the GRC solutions and technologies and frameworks shortly. And I obviously the regulatory rules what we seen, DPDP was not there in India before 2023. Now we got 2023, the beautiful one, good regulation here. So these kind of regulatory requirements and everything is also increasing. And in addition to that, maybe you can just think of we are pharma industry, or we are a small and medium sized industry. Our operations are connected to our regular day-to-day operations. Why I need to do the IT GRC? Okay. Because again, without IT, I believe so none of our organizations are working manual process end to end at this point of time. Directly or indirectly, they are part of our organization. So IT GRC should be part of overall your GRC program in an organization. So IT GRC also playing a very key role, maybe in the last 1 decade as such. Maybe majority of things, like if you take some CA firms, I mean to say the chartered accountant firms or something, where more manual operations would be there without using much technologies as such. But nowadays, everything is automated without laptop, without mobile. Okay, none of operations we could not able to do in the organization. So including transactions, financial transactions of the organization, everything is happening with IT. So whenever you are doing, implementing or planning any GRC in your organization, IT GRC is integral part of it. It should be there as such. Okay. So these are the trends I see at the moment, GRC, and also it is tightly integrated with the cyber security at this point of time. And then these are the service offerings from our organization: CyberSOC, Identity Access Management, GRC, and Data Governance. We are purely a cyber security organization offering the services and end to end. And GRC will, especially on the GRC area, we do existing GRC program audits, assessments, and advisory. Then IT compliance will drive the compliance journey of the organization, IT risk management, and IT automations as well. Okay. So each and every process will be there throughout the journey of the GRC for your organizations. Is that these are the things I want to bring to your notice on this afternoon, during this afternoon, and just to give the brief idea about what is GRC, where we stand, and how it is different from organization to organization, and end of the day, what are the various trends that are coming up.
Thank you so much,
Back to
sir,
you.
for the insightful and comprehensive session on governance, risk, and compliance. We appreciate the time and effort you have taken to share your knowledge and experiences with us. Now we would like to open the floor for questions. Please feel free to ask Mr. Venugopal Kalva any questions you have regarding today's session on GRC.
I think so. There are a lot of questions in the chat as well. We are not addressed them one by one. Yeah, we can take that directly overall questions. That will be better. What are extended? Somebody is one of our friend asked about the Paytm case study. Maybe it is not the right forum to present it at this point of time. Okay, but offline you can connect me. I have the case study ready with me. I can explain to you that. Yeah. About Paytm case study. Yeah, let me go through these questions. What are we are having? Paytm I already addressed. Okay. Then there is a question from Uma Maheswara talking about NIST comes under compliance or standards. Okay. Yes. It's a standard. Okay. We can't say that's standard. It's a framework basically. NIST came up with the latest, maybe you're aware of, there's something called Cyber Security Framework, CSF 2.0. Again, it got the same thing, like, in order to deal a cyber security incident in an organization, there should be a certain 4 steps are there. Okay. Detecting it, containment, okay, then recovery. These kind of 3-4 steps are there in the IT, security IT incident management cycle. NIST is more towards the CSF framework. Okay, it proposes a CSF framework that need to be followed. Basically, it is not complete. NIST is not complete. It's a framework, I can say at this point of time. It is good whenever you have an incident management in place or various certain controls that are that are aligning with your IT operations. Yeah, you need to follow. Yeah, it is not a regulatory. I mean to say, when audit will happens, normally what I observed here is when an audit will happens, the NIST frameworks, whether you are following or not, we'll see. But the point is not like ISO, not like it's not a mandatory complaint. You need to have follow on that. It follows it gives a guidelines, I can say, the framework. But at the same time, how good we are implemented our incident management, change management, service management. Okay, then obviously that need to be compared with some some frameworks That's where the NIST will play a very key role. Let me tell you the classic example here. So as we told, okay, we do the cybersecurity assessments, GRC assessments. What we do, once we do the assessments, okay, the current maturity level, how we can decide, how we can call it, map with them is with the NIST framework only. Okay, so your incident management mapping, mapped or compared with the NIST framework, incident management framework, whether it is properly in place or not. So that's how the NIST comes into picture, or maybe that's where we are using at this point of time. Yeah, it's not complete. I hope that is clear. And then taking the next question here, how companies apply to different sector, how compliances? Yeah, as I mentioned already, compliances again depending upon the nature of your business. Okay, and especially if you take the BFSI sector, you using IT, ISO comes into picture. We have a cards are using in that business operations, then the PCI DSS kind of things will come into picture. Then when especially the DPDP Act, when you are storing the data, uses your customers data, DPDP comes into picture. So likewise, industry it will vary, and the general things, okay, based on your operations, the compliance requirements will vary. Then coming to Rachna Behera, in what ways AI or Gen AI accelerate the risk assessments? Yeah. So as I mentioned, there are various analysis methods available. With the AI, the analytics and also the risk analysis methods are getting into latest trends, and the analytics are very intuitive compared to earlier one, basically. So that's where I see the analytics are improving a lot. The business intelligence modules are improving a lot in the GRC tools, and the risk assessment is more accurate, I can say, more accurate and more real time compared to earlier things, basically. Yeah. Then coming to, I'm currently working in VAPT domain, wanted to switch to GRC management. Can you please guide? Okay, please touch base with Sagar, with me, Sagar Jayani or someone. Yeah, touch base with us. Okay, we'll guide you definitely on that. Can you mute all? And
Sir,
yeah,
to make it simple, I'll just read out the questions to you so that you can answer them.
please, Sai Prakash.
Yes. Sir, from a different perspective, how can a data fiduciary availing services of such organizations know whether they have been impacted due to bad GRC? And the next question is, what are the remedies that they can avail if they know about the same?
Yeah, especially this is connected to more of DPDP, basically. It's a nice question, basically, Reshma. This data fidelity, if you understand it, right approach, availing service of such organizations know whether they have been impacted bad GRC or not. So the perspective in the DPDP Act, when we have this data fidelity one, okay, availing service of such organizations to know whether they have been impacted by the bad GRC or not, the remedies that they can avail if they know about the same. See, in the data fidelity, as I mentioned, there would be some roles and duties are there. Out of that data fidelity, okay, let me go to that slide for you very quickly to easy to me as well explain to that. Yep. So the obligation of data fidelity, okay. What it is trying to explain to, for the interest of the formula, I came back to here just to not to make a simple explanation, because this is a new term that is coined by the DPDP Act, data fiduciary and significant data. Okay, and what it is trying to give is various data principles, okay, and various rules that are required as part of DPDP Act need to be there. Let us example, if I feel or I think I am following the DPDP Act, okay, or maybe as part of my GRC program, DPDP is there basically, okay, and how I am dealing with the data, various positions that are there in the with respect to the data management, I can able to collate with, I can able to understand from this data fiduciary obligations or recommendations here. That is the one thing. Let us example, if they are not in place, okay, do I am bad at GRC or bad at DPDP Act? No, in both ways basically, okay. So aligning with the policies are mapping these principles to, are mapping these recommendations to my current situation where I'm stand on from the deep, data protection perspective. Then I will get the clarity. Based on that, I will try to improve them or place those controls in the place. Okay, implement those technical and organizational measures to ensure effectiveness. Okay, that's where it will guide to me basically, and it's not bad or good basically. And where I stand, that helps us to assess. What I can say is, uh, not just telling us about the bad GRC or bad DPDP Act implementation. It will give me the current situation where I'm stand and how best I can able to improve on that. Okay, and the remedies part, again the guidelines what are available. If we implement those controls and having those kinds of roles and responsibilities, controls, policies, principles of DPDP, if you follow 100%, obviously, okay, that will recover, and make your organization compliant with that. I hope that makes sense basically. Yeah. Can we take up the next one?
Yes, sir. How do we ensure the complete list of applicable controls are mapped through the GRC tool, as most of the GRC tool providers are not offering the controls out of the box?
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, exactly. So how do we ensure is, again, that depending on the business, that's where the internal audit team, see, that is example, that's where the internal audit teams are your service provider will help you. Okay, let me tell you example. I'm a manufacturing industry. I doesn't know how to implement the ISO 27001. Okay, or which are the controls, as we see in the 2022 version, we have 93 controls. Out of 93 controls, which are applicable to my organization, my operations, I am not aware because I am not a CISA certified GRC lead auditor as such. There, the expertise comes into picture. Okay, I need to engage them. So coming back to your question, when it comes to GRC tool, which they are not providing out of controls, which controls I need to be placed, applicable to them, that is be chosen by the GRC implementer or who is your internal audit teams are there. They will figure it out which controls are applicable to you. And no, maybe if you are aware, when you are implementing ISO or any kind of audit kind of relevant thing, the first thing you start with is called SOA, statement of applicability. What does it mean is which controls are applicable out of all the 93 controls. First, we will figure it out. And those controls will try to be ensure that should be available in our tools. Again, the second point here is about the technology you are talking about. Yeah, I figured out for my organization, 40 controls are applicable out of 93. That is the example. These 93, whether available in my technology, okay, again, that's where I choose the technology, how good the integrations are available, how good the controls are available. Those things I will choose, based on that one, I will have the negotiations and selecting my technology criteria. This is where I am, this is where I will ensure the technology will supports me in this overall audit journey, GR's implementation journey, and ensure that you should not have much manual work uh, due to lack of controls. Yeah. First, have the statement of applicability, have the proper, choose the controls, then choose the technology. Then obviously you will get everything in place. Yep. Back to you, side.
Yes, sir. Who is GRC regulatory from Out of India? How do they monitor and address customer grievance in digital transactions?
Yeah, not only specific regulatory is there. Okay. As per my knowledge, I'm telling you, I don't want to give anything. Okay. No specific, I mean, to say, only one GRC regulatory is there. Let us example, if you take uh, banks, okay. The digital transactions, the guidelines are given by IRDAA. Maybe you guys are heard that word basically. Okay. Uh, Banks and everything regulatory bodies are there. Those guys will give the guidelines, principles, and also they are the regulatory bodies. I mean to say there are multiple regulatory bodies, especially BFSI sector. What I've seen is IRDAA principles, IRDAA regulatory bodies will play a key role in the banks and digital transactions. And in addition to
Yes.
that, certain and everything. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Yep. You have obviously included culture of the organization and PPTT, people, process, tools, and technology being integral dimensions. How does ethical integrity and accountability play an important role in GRC, particularly the operational risk in governance? And what, according to you, what is the important deterrent or a challenge for successful overall implementation?
Yeah, nice question. Yeah. So, yeah, a successful GRC implementation, how do we measure it? Okay, that's where the question again lands onto it, basically, right? So, what is the important challenge, the successful overall implementation? Yeah. Uh, yeah, throughout my experience, what I feel is a successful GRC implementation will get a more, tough challenges from the risk management perspective. Okay, ITRM looks like very simple, the risk management, but the implementation part and the identification assessment is very, very difficult normally, basically. We have several analysis methods are there. And yeah, the risk management part, I feel, very critical and also tough compared to regular, having just governance, good governance with the policies, procedures, controls, and roles and responsibilities. Our compliance is already very straightforward. These controls I have to follow, I have to follow. That's it. The policies I have to follow. But risk, assessing the risks, maintaining the, treating the risks, and at any point of time, I can't say, yeah, I am 100% risk free because of my GRC implementation or because of my, I have a very good analysis methods or the risk treatment methods. Okay, that is one area I feel always a challenge in the GRC implementation side, risk management part.
Yes, sir. Where can practical experience on various GRC tools be obtained?
Practical exposure mean, I believe so. You are talking about hands-on experience kind of thing. Trial versions are available, what I believe. Let me quote example of Open Pages, basically IBM Open Pages. That is one of the GRC tool available. They got trial versions. Likewise, very, the OEMs, various OEMs are providing trial versions. You can try on the web, basically, and then you can get the look and feel of, get the trial versions uh, downloaded to your system or whatever is the web access are available, cloud-based only nowadays, basically. With the trial versions, I think you can get the practice, have a look at, and also explore the various features of the tools.
Yes, sir. We have one more question. As generative AI models become more autonomous and capable of learning from their environments, how will governance framework adapt to ensure continued oversight and control?
Okay, understood. Generative AI, yeah, this is one more flavor of the AI, right? Okay, so that's nice. Okay. Let me tell you how it will work with the GRC adoption. Okay. Especially on the technology side, the AI always play a role in the technology, no doubt about it. Okay. In GRC implementation, there would be technology also part of it. It is not just only having a tool and we can say risk implemented, risk management is done, GRC is implemented. We can't say directly. Okay. So when you implement the GRC, you have the GRC tool is available, that is example, and it is augmented with generative AI models. What the generative AI models will do is, it will understand the environment basically, okay, with the machine learning capabilities and everything. It understanding overall integrations of the your various business systems, okay, and various business systems, and whatever the data you are ingested as part of internal integrations and external threat intelligences, everything it will learn and provide the best into the analytics part when it comes to the dashboards or reports, or maybe analyzing wherever you require the analysis, especially the risk analysis measures or whatever things are available. Okay, and yeah, that is the way. That is how, yeah, it will learn it. It will enable this generative AI enables the technology to be more efficient when it comes to the GRC framework, or for that matter, any kind of technology implementation in the cyber security or the GRC domains.
Good. Thank you, sir. We'll just take two more questions. So also we have given the mic access to all the participants. So if we'll take last two more questions. So if anyone has, you can please unmute yourself, and or else you can also put it in the chat. Cool. I guess there are no more questions, sir. So Nishita, over to you.
I'm stopping my presentation. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you everyone for your participation. Before we conclude, I kindly request all participants to take a moment to fill the feedback form, which is shared in the chat box. Your feedback is very valuable to us and helps us improve our future sessions. Thank you so once again for your valuable insights. Have a great day. Best regards, Nishita Gala from Cyber Security Center of Excellence.
Thank you guys for your coordination, and I appreciate all of the participants and their questions as well. Reach out to us, okay, if any questions we have, through our contacts here. Thanks a lot. Thanks for giving this opportunity, DSA, and especially Sriram sir and the team. You guys are phenomenal in making all the arrangements and making it success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.